Uganda's favorable soil conditions and climate have contributed to the country's agricultural success. Most areas of Uganda have usually received plenty of rain. In some years, small areas of the southeast and southwest have averaged more than 150 millimeters per month. But the northern region has a short dry season in December and January. Temperatures vary only a few degrees above or below 20 degrees Celsius, but are moderated by differences in altitude. These conditions allow continuous cultivation in the south, with annual cropping in the north, and the driest northeastern corner of the country supports pastoralism. Eventually, population growth has created pressure on land, resulting in land shortage, although by 1989, only one-third arable land was under cultivation. Majority of the people in rural areas own land. However, it is heartbreaking to find some families, especially the widows and child-headed families, cannot farm their land due to lack of farm inputs. Such families therefore face shortage of food and agricultural products for sale. These families encounter difficulty getting enough food, especially during the dry season. Famine and poverty have devastated these areas and are a threat to many families in the region. In rural areas where 80% of the population depend on agriculture, women provide over half of agricultural labor, but only for subsistence. They traditionally focus on food rather than cash crop production. The monetary value of market crops is exceeded by estimated value of subsistence agriculture. Plantains, cassava, sweet potatoes, and bananas, sorghum, millet are the major food crops. The Acholi region is part of the greater north of Uganda, Kitgum, Padel, and Gulu districts that have been affected by rebel activity since 1986. The erratic security situation, access to food, income and productive assets for the population has become difficult over these years. The People's Hope, especially women who had just returned from IDP camps after 23-year LRA insurgencies, came back recently after VACNET and Women's Global Empowerment Fund came in to give support. Volunteer Action Network, VACNET, a non-profit organization founded in 2005 by a group of volunteers who realized the worsening situation of the rural poor, especially the women who are adversely affected by the socio-economic imbalance and yet constitute a greater labor force for production. In 2007, VACNET formed a strategic relationship with Women's Global Empowerment Fund and has continued to work together to achieve a joint mission of offering microfinance to women in northern Uganda. By providing microcredit loans and educational programming, women can create economic opportunities for themselves while strengthening their families and communities to fulfill their dreams. Women have received loans and training which are invested in business and agriculture. Kitala Fiona is a farmer living in Gulu district and has benefited from the Credit Plus program. During the war, she was in an IDP camp where she could not practice agriculture. But now she's one of the promising farmers.
When I joined this VACNET, I heard that they were giving money to assist us, the villagers. So I went and borrowed. I told Musa to give me 100,000 shillings. But he said, for them they give small loans.
Unfortunately, according to many traditions, most women in Uganda do not own land, and this is a limiting factor to development. Most landowners are supposed to be the heads of families, who are the husbands. Many women want land tenureship to change so that they too have a right to own land. The Constitution of Uganda provides for the anti-discriminatory provisions and condemns customs that contradict human rights. But discrimination against women is rife, and the situation of Ugandan women is aggravated by patriarchal tradition and years of armed conflict. The government has enacted laws to address the situation of women, but their implementation has been obstructed by some reticent communities. Routinely, the program director, WGEF, Musa Bukenya carries outreach visits to the beneficiaries to provide them with technical advice. Musa continues to the gardens to assess the developments. He explains.
For northern Uganda to have a successful recovery, we need to invest a lot in agriculture. So our loan program is investing and supporting micro farmers at the grassroots level. And here is a garden of some of our clients participating into agriculture. They expect to have a boost in their harvest this season, but they are faced with a lot of challenges and they need more support in terms of plowing. They need traction. They need cows to help them in plowing. They need seeds. They need to have more inputs to aid their agriculture.
Creating a support system for women, because women have unique needs and challenges because of their gender. The union can actually give them information, tools, and a voice to challenge systemic inequalities that keep them from having access to larger markets, that keep them from owning land or obtaining title to land, to fair trade prices, things like that.
Some women explain that when they get loans, they can buy their land and start farming so as to meet their dreams. Despite challenges which women face in northern Uganda on land and property ownership, Vicky Atim is one of the few who has gone to court and claimed her land immediately after the death of her husband.
She was sent away to their home to say the land does not belong to her. So she went away. Then after, she took the matter to the court. Then that's how the problem was solved.
However, she's still faced with challenges of family discrimination because she has won the battle. But she's seriously making her land productive.
Vicky is also a successful farmer who says that the loan she received from WGEF and Vaknings has helped her to grow different food crops for sale and home use.
Tilling mawano game Vagnet manaknake ene wa wile kukudi ene ye konyo wa dano furo ene wa doi mugo kido ene tika konyo wa si program ene PRTech.
Vicky also does not work alone. She has a daughter-in-law who has got a successful story.
My future plan is, personally like me, I want to dig this year and the harvest. If I can sell and get some income, then I'll go back next year. I'll join the university next year. Because there's no any source of income we can get and take back ourselves to school.
Not only women in Gulu appreciate the role of Vaknings and WGEF, some men where these women come from have welcomed the gesture.
They should engage in agriculture like this so that it could help those women more than that loan. And loan should be additional to agricultural activity like this.
Uganda government recently introduced a countrywide growing of upland rice. WGEF clients have also welcomed the gesture. They grow rice for sale and home consumption.
Started clearing the land in the month of March. After the season came, we planted.
She want to dig and plant the rice in this garden because of loan which she want to borrow.
Some other women groups have started working at Lara Stone Quarry in Gulu as another way of survival. Adong Lillian is one of them, and she works at the stone quarry with her daughter.
It needs someone to be courageous, energetic, and you have to be patient because the work is not easy. It's taxing, it needs a lot of time, and in fact you really need to go down to ground.
A peer councillor at Vaknit, Winnie Amoni, explains that for the years she's been at Lara Stone Quarry, her life and family has changed.
From this quarry,
Many children have gone up with their education. Some are now working class, some are in university. So we are managing our home very well.
The lack of protective gear is a danger to these women's health, however. But Vagnate and the Women's Global Empowerment Fund have provided some women with protective gears. As another way of empowering women, Vagnate and Women's Global Empowerment Fund has worked to steward the process of creating a platform through which many stakeholders and women can come together to push social causes collectively. The Creating of a Voice for Women annual event is designed to engage multiple contributors with a diversity of experiences and perspectives to create a momentum to shift the dominant cultural assumptions about women's rights to selected themes. In fact, we feel strongly that if you are going to promote women's empowerment, that is a more collective and networked effort that we should embody this approach and work together as civil society organizations. Now it's 4 years down the road since the birth of Kikopo Pamon, an annual event. This year's theme, Women Will Advocate for Women's Rights to Land and Property Ownership, and will go a long way in highlighting land rights. WGEF and Vagnate has supported women in several ways, like adult literacy training, peer counseling, and business skill training. This is the objective of starting Kikopo Pamon, creating voices for women. Eunice Apio, the program manager, explains.
Coming up with the theme for this year, the clients were involved and they came up with the most pressing issue in their community, and they say that the issue of land and property ownership was really a big key issue that needed to be addressed. So we carried out a study and moved in the different locations where the clients are, and they all agreed to this theme, and we decided to adopt it and kind of work it out so that we can get responses from the people in authority to help them, because much as the women work so hard, they cannot own land, they cannot own property, so they feel really it is a big challenge, yet they have the burden to look after the children.
But the communities still face challenges. So far, Women's Global Empowerment Fund has supported clients, most of whom were LRA war returnees. What is the client's expectation about this year's annual event?
This year we are up now, even in the afternoon we'll be doing it. So we are now practicing it. I think we shall do much better than last year.
The organization's strategy is to provide a framework for creating viable opportunities for women and their families. Through proven grassroots strategies, marginalized women are given the tools necessary to eradicate poverty through sustainable development, self-determination, and empowerment. The goal of this program is poverty reduction, human security enhancement, and women's empowerment. It is the organization's hope to transform women's lives in northern Uganda. The motivation is a possibility that poor women can rise above the poverty line with dignity.
Ando jara da la bemon, ando jale to la ke kare lagi.